Welcome to 3Oul 3Isters. My name is Jamila Oluka and you're watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. Today in the show, we bring you one of the most expressive, very flamboyant, very entertaining and engaging woman all the way from Otuke district. She is one of our 3Oul 3Isters and she's called Honorable Sylvia. I know that she will introduce herself later on, but before we go there, we would like to give credit to Dotash for giving us this beautiful place and having all this beautiful furniture. I mean, everything that you need in your home, you can find it here in Dotash. Today we have Honorable Sylvia and I'm so glad to have her in the show, and I'm looking forward to hearing her story, and I believe that most of you who are watching right now, you are also looking forward to hearing her story. So Honorable Sylvia, my sister, I should say that because we are all 3Oul 3Isters, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jamila, and everybody viewing us outside there. My name is Akello Sylvia. I am a teacher by profession, a social worker by profession, and I am a politician.
Wow.
I am equally a servant of God.
Wow.
So I'm really humble and delighted to be here today to discuss about my journey of life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that note, I'm really excited because you said you're a teacher, you're a politician, you're a servant of God, and then you are also a social worker. That means you are all-round a person. So since you're a teacher, I'll take you back to when Sylvia, where is Honorable Sylvia born, and which schools did you go to in primary?
Yeah, thank you very much, Jamila, and our viewers. As I said, my name is Sylvia. I come from Olilim sub-county in Otuke district in Lango region, and that is where I went to school for my primary cycle. I finished my primary cycle in Olilim Primary School, and during that time we had a lot of insurgency, that is Karamojong, Rastoling, and all the time we would be running here and there. So the issue of school fees and stable finances was a challenge. I had to go to another third world school for my secondary school, and that was Orum Secondary School, where the district headquarters is situated right now. By then, if I am to equate it right now, I would equate it like a seed school, because a seed school starts from like a primary school, then they can graduate to a secondary. So we were, I wasn't a pioneer, but we were in that group of students who like started Orum Secondary School. Thereafter, I passed well. We didn't care about the situation we were in, but we concentrated on books. Yes.
I am interested to know, how was Sylvia growing up? What kind of child were you at home?
Wow. In the home, from my mother's womb, we are 5. And out of these 5, I'm the only girl.
Wow.
As well as last born. So
aren't you the most pampered? Were you not the most pampered child in the whole world?
Instead, I grew up a masculine child. I can't say I am, that girlish kind of lifestyle, because all the time you are interacting with boys, you do boy-child activities. I remember when I was young, I would even go for hunting. Where people carry those threads and then they carry spears, they go looking for these small animals. I was such a curious child who would even go with men for hunting. I would go for digging. I remember I had to build my own hut.
You built your own hut?
I did it.
At what age?
Yes, that was the time I was in secondary. I would say from 15 to 17, 18. I built my own hut. I planted trees, mangoes, fruits. I am a fan of fruits. I love fruit so much. So I planted my mango trees. When you go to our compound today, you find a number of trees that I've planted, especially fruit trees. It was interesting, and also because of the insecurity and where girl children were not so much encouraged to go to school, If you are to study, then you must also have a rough life, because people would beat you on your way to school, so that you are discouraged and you are married. So yes.
You mean during that time they would beat girls so that you do not go to school?
No, booing, you know, was the order of the day, even with boy children. So you would find a lot of bullying. They beat you. That was a common thing. If you go and report to your mother, hey, such and such a child has beaten you, they just say, don't pamper your child. They were just playing. And yet at the end of the day, most children drop out of school.
That is sad.
Because of the insecurity, even the administrative system was not very clear. You find there is no road. In the morning when you are going, there is a lot of dew. You have to go with another clothes. When you reach the other side, and there was even swamp, you go through the water which is up. Yes, you have to.
I know that that side of Lira, Lango,
yes,
it's swampy.
Yes, it's swampy, and you know we have a table line. You even move a distance of almost 1 kilometer in the swampy area. You are just walking in muddies, in waters, and you reach when you are pale, you know, because of dew and the kind of harsh situation you go through. So it was not the garden of roses for some of us. If other people think, I'm too young to undergo this kind of hardship. Hey, no way. You have to move on and continue pursuing the dream. Sometimes you go to school and then you hear the Karamojong Rastolas at the other side. You hear the gunshot, and before you know, everybody is running away. Even you run to a direction which is different from your home. Sometimes you even don't know where you...
I think you even run to a direction where you don't, like everyone runs and then you don't even run with a family member.
No, sometimes it may get you when you are in school, when you are in church, you've gone to prayers, maybe your parents and your other home people are not there. So you take any direction, you take refuge as individual, as Jamila or as Akello for that matter.
Yes, so I'm really interested. You talked about all that, like being a child, you know, going to school as a girl child back then. It must have really been hard from what you have explained. So
sure.
Apart from that, like what you said, you'd come home and then you do the hunting and then also growing up with boys. Now, how was life like at school?
Yeah, even at school, as I told you, there was a lot of bullying. You know, if you are like in a middle class, P3, P4, those ones in P5, P6 would bully, they would beat you, get away your cassava, because there was no breakfast in school.
So did you
no
used to
lunch.
pack something?
Yeah, you would pack your cassava. Sometimes you imagine, if I go with my cassava to class, big boys and girls would even get away my cassava. Sometimes you would hide it in the bush before you reach the school, and you go lunchtime and you find that the squirrels have eaten your cassava. It was really a survival for the fittest.
So maybe you should have put the cassava on top of the tree or something.
But now, even if you put, maybe birds would also eat it away. So wherever you put your cassava, every prey would come for the cassava. So we would have cassava, sweet potatoes. You pack your sweet potatoes. If you have your bag, we use even to sew our bags with our own hands.
Yes,
you get
and what about now water? Because, I mean, you're packing these foods like cassava, sweet potato, but you know all these are carbs that need water. So how were you managing?
Yeah, we had borehole in schools, but sometimes when the borehole would break down, you would move long distance to look for water in the swampy area where they put the well, you know, where they dig. Our well is not even like this one. They would just dig the well. So you have to go up to the swampy area to look for water in the well, or you can even have your jerry can where you carry your water. And you know, those days, if you are a girl child, you would even be taken to help in teachers' quarters. So you, in the evening like this...
Why they talk about the teachers' quarters? I heard that those days sometimes children would be taken to sweep, to clean.
Yes.
So maybe you can throw some light on that.
Yeah, like if you're a girl child, no, in the evening, you from P4 onwards, madam, you know, we used to call them the female teachers and even male teachers. They would send you with jerrycans, you go fetch water and then bring to teachers' homes. But if they are good teachers and you are used to fetching water, definitely you would go and drink water at madam's place during
And what
maybe...
about to have something like lunch?
No, there was no lunch in school. If you are a lazy person and you come from a home where they don't have cassava gardens and tomato and potatoes, that means you will have to forego anything up to evening. So you are leaving home and the school is not near. Some people would move as far as 6-7 kilometers. Others would move 4 kilometers. Even others would move 10 kilometers.
Wow!
And
all that distance.
Yes, yes. And then that's why those days children would start even P1 as old as 13 years. Because when a child starts at 6-7, they would not be able to walk all that long distance. If the issue of insecurity comes around, that child would not be able to run for his own life. So in school you find a mixture of age groups. There are others who would be as big as even 20s. They are together with you who is 8-9 years in P2, in P3. But for me, the good thing, my elder brother was already a teacher. So most of the time, I would stay at my brother's place, but also sometimes you go back to the village, you stay with your mother to do core work. It was not mandatory that all the time you are staying at teacher's quarters.
So what kind of work were you doing at home, apart from the hunting, you say that one which you used to go with the boys?
The economic crisis was hard. So being the only girl child and brother studying as well, we had to start selling disajono, marua. So actually it was hard. It reached a point that even my mother, being someone who never went to school, would not want you to put a lot of focus or emphasis on girl child education. So they would overwork you with work. So I used to sell bananas because we had banana plantation in our home. We used to sell the marua. So which means every Monday and Thursday, which was a market day. You wouldn't, because you are looking for money. You are looking for money. So you go to school on Monday, Tuesday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. These other days, you are busy looking for money. And also, we used to dig. This subsistence farming. You dig, you have a group of young people who are hardworking like you. They put the measurement of a stick 1/30. You make sure you wake up very early. By 5 you are up. You first go to the garden, then you bring water home, and then you now go to school.
Sweep the compound.
You sweep the compound, and then you go to school. You come back from there, you know you are going to cook, you are going to grind millet with that stone for people to eat. Or you go to the garden, and then you collect sweet potatoes or cassava. Food was there because all the time you have to work. So amid this school was like I can equate it to a part-time job of now. It was not
it was not a compulsory thing like the way now.
No, it was not a main course. No, if you don't want it, so be it, especially girl child. So that's the lifestyle we went through. You are supposed to know much of the core work at home. Your mother, every community member prepares you for a housewife. So
not even for, going to school.
No, not going to school.
So then how did you manage? Then after primary, you went to the secondary school. So how was it like being in secondary school?
Still in the secondary school was very hard. As I told you, this was a third world school. So we would have teachers who are not licensed. Those ones who've dropped out of senior 6 were the ones, yes, most of...
Not even those who have gone through the teaching
because
colleges.
Who would pay them? I remember By that time, I joined senior one in 1992 or room SS. Yes, and we were paying 16,000 per term.
Go back to that same school now and see how much they will charge you.
Of course, yeah, that one now is a different story. So we were paying 16,000, and every Friday, the school would buy bricks from a distance place, like maybe 5 kilometers. So every Friday, they would want you as a student to ferry those bricks. They must be 25. Whether you want to carry them at once, you are using bicycle, but every Monday, you have to stand near your bricks, and then they count if they have reached 25.
So how would you then balance the school and then all this domestic work you're doing, carrying bricks, going to the well? Because I know that at secondary level, that's when really girls get into learning about motherhood, learning about being a woman. So how would you balance all this being a girl child?
That's why I appreciate people who say girl child or a woman can multitask. That is now where you see multitasking in a girl child who is finishing cycle of O level. Because in the morning you have to do core work. You make sure you look for a way of bringing these breaks. You go to school. Even in school, they are not using mower. You are the one going to clean the compound. You are going even to the garden to plow some potatoes. If you want to have a balanced diet this time, so that during picnic or something, you want to eat your sweet potatoes at the end of the year, the sweet potatoes must be heaped by you students, and then you carry your own potato vines and you put it, you go weed it. So it was really a matter of work. You must know how to apportion your time.
What about now
and
those
then
who could not manage working? Because they are also lazy people.
You have to be friendly. If you are lazy, then you must create your own ways of having people who can help you. Because you see, everywhere you go, you find people with good heart, you find people with bad heart as well.
Now for you who came from a family where you're the only last born, you're the only girl, you're used to boys being around you, could you also do that work like
But
hard?
as I told you, that it was even more harsh. Not like you are the only girl child. I would do a lot of co-work. So doing those work was not something like punishment to me. And other fellow girl children, we would do it normally. You would do it happily. And
not like now you tell a child to get a hoe to go to the garden.
You tell someone you go and clean toilet, they look at it as a punishment. When you tell a person you go and dig, it's like a punishment. For us, there was nothing of the sort, because you want food. The bottom line is you want food and you must work for it.
So now after secondary,
yeah, even before that, even in secondary, as I told you, multitasking. We joined the girl guiding.
Yes. It's not so pronounced nowadays.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's not. I really don't know. We were very serious girl guides. You find maybe once in a week, you go around villages helping old women. You smear their small huts with cow dung. You wash all their clothes, and you fetch water for them. You know, that was also community contribution. And because of this, I became so much used to community activities and work. And that was the time I joined politics as youth councillor by then.
Before even you reached like after senior 6 when you're doing those things?
I remember I was in senior 2. That's when the issue of CA election started. So I participated. I campaigned with my teachers. They were also young people. But I was in senior 2 by then. So I campaigned and won election. I became a youth representative. We were the people who voted the youth MP then, who represented Lango sub-region during CA. So there is a gentleman in Kampala here called Atuoko Ambrose. I think he's now a town clerk or something. Here we voted the guy, and he represented young people. That being the council and the rest now helped me a bit in paying my school fees.
So you used to be paid for that position?
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
When you go, you get allowances, not salary as such, but the sitting allowance when you get. I remember wherever we would go for council meeting, we were paid 34,000. And remember,
that's a lot of
yes,
money
remember
then.
my school fees was 16,000.
So you were, those days, that means you were the girl in the block
Of
now
course,
with a lot of money.
Actually, yeah, I was no longer a child, and you know, being you are a counselor representing young people with your teacher. So most of the time, I would rub shoulders with the teachers. I would rub shoulders with the people in the district RDCs. I remember Minister Honorable Echuero was the RDC of Lera. So those were the people I would, you know, talk to. I remember I had to invite the RDC in my school, something that even the aid teacher would not have done it. And definitely went because I was already cadre.
So that is when the training for politics started.
Yeah, and the issue of cadreship, I remember I am cadre 13. We had the training and we were passed out by Honorable Betty Bigombe. She was a minister by then. She went on chopper, and it was residential. So we would open guns and then we put them back. You dismantle and put it back. It was, you know, a girl child of senior 2. I was now able. I grew up very far in my age. So that was the life in a secondary. So when I went through, the issue of councillorship like was fading out, you know, CA was for a shorter time, and A level I passed. I was admitted in DOC. You know, DOC is a boys' school, but A level is mixed, girls and boys. So I couldn't go for A level because money was again a problem, and someone advised me, why don't you go to PTC where people don't pay fees? I said, oh.
Those days the teaching schools used to be free.
Yeah, you would just pay a small fee at once, and the rest is history. You just go, especially these government primary teachers colleges. You wouldn't pay school fees. So I said, instead of like dropping out and staying out for years that you don't know when, because you want to join A level, why don't I go for PTC? Yes, quickly I went to PTC, and immediately you go, you conquer your area. I went with my system of girl guiding, and it was a little bit more stronger. Our school would be #1 in the PTC institutions wherever we could go for
when
competition.
you had those competitions.
Yeah. You know, this issue of being fearful was no longer in my DNA.
How can, if you can campaign when you're in senior 2? Yes, and then you rub shoulders with all these politicians and big people in that district. Trust me, there's no way you'd have been shy anymore.
The unfortunate bit is when you are not in school, even for 30 minutes, everybody knows. She's not around. She's not around. When you are not around, everybody knows. So there is nothing secret that you can do before everybody talk about it. In PTC, I went to Fatima Aloy, but by that time we already had the issue of the LRA. Sometimes people would run, you sleep in the bush, you continue. Even talk about transportation.
Did you ever sleep in the bush?
That had been actually the order of the day. I remember telling you that during my primary, the cattle rustlers would come and everybody would be sleeping in the bush. You stay in the bush, not even just sleeping,
so
you stay there.
The home would
be completely abandoned. Yes, the homes were abandoned. People ran away, those with relatives in Lira town. That's where when you go to Lango, you find people of Otuke, Yam, in Apache, in Molatar, in Lira city, we dominate because people ran away because of insecurity. But if you have nowhere to run, definitely you would be sleeping in the bush.
And then you come back home to check the home.
And then you come back home to check, do few things, you go, even the garden work, even school, you get from the bush and then you go to school. That's why in 1991, when I sat for my PLE, the entire Olilim sub-county, which is now 3 sub-counties, had 12 primary schools, but we were only 2 girls who sat PLE.
In the whole district?
In the whole sub-county.
You must be very good friends now.
Yeah, I am.
And this is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I never actually thought that had to, like some time back, that only 2 girls, because the sub-county is big.
All of us would come and then
and there was no rigging, because if you're telling us about all this
how would you even have opportunity to rig? Because teachers from all those schools are coming in this one center. Invigilators would come in the one center. And there was no heart of rigging, because you would believe so much on your brain and you are faithful. Whatever you are told to do, so you follow the instruction as it is always written. Do not open this booklet until you are told to do so.
You were a good student. I had actually forgotten about that.
I cannot forget.
Blue color.
Yeah.
Actually in red.
Yes.
In red.
And you would, they would teach you and you would master. It was not a matter of cramming, but you master and you become part of those things. That's why when you ask somebody at your level now to tell you what happens after fertilization, you will not even remember the word zygote.
No. Honorable Sylvia, so
yes.
After the PTC, were you deployed? Because you said that those days they never used to deploy teachers, some of them. So for you, were you the lucky one who was deployed? Maybe you can tell us about that too.
What I meant was, I was saying when we started like the secondary school, teachers were few. So they would deploy them to better off schools. And these other third world rural schools would remain for the teachers that are paid by parents. But immediately, those days, wherever you would qualify, you wouldn't, be floating around. Quickly, you are employed. So immediately, I got taken up and I started teaching.
Within Olilim or somewhere else?
No, this time you know Olilim or Otuke for that matter, all were still under Lira district. So by that time, Otuke district, Aleptong district, Dokolo district, Molatar and the Lira city were all under one district of Lira. So if you are to be employed, that means you are going to do interview in Lira and you can be posted in any of the part of the districts I've mentioned now. So I went and did interview and my first posting was in Molatar.
Tell us about it. Seems it's an interesting story, Honorable Sylvia, the way you said that Molatar, because I imagine you, a girl who has grown up in a particular place. Back then, we are not talking about now where there are telephones and transport has been made easy. So how would you get from there, go to Molatar? How was that experience?
So they posted me to a very extreme rural village of a primary school in Molatar. And by then, the transport in Molatar was another hell. If you want to come from Molatar to Lira town, the vehicle leaves by 4
a.m.
Yes, in the night. So you must do everything it takes for the vehicle for you to go to a place where you would board from. But to leave a school, that school was called Alelangao. I don't forget about the name.
The name is Alelangao.
Alelangao Primary School.
Yes.
Very far. You would walk. The distance was over 10 kilometers away from the main road. And it was near the lake. Remember, I come from Olilim, Tuke, where there's no water bodies.
Yes.
So eating fish and all those kind of things were not in our menu.
Your DNA had to first start registering again.
Yeah. So when I went to the lake shore. There was a lot of water bodies. They prepared for me fish. You know, there was no cooking oil. So they had to get the fish which was pregnant, very fatty, and then they used the fats of the fish for cooking fish itself. I ate and I hated fish. That was one thing. I didn't like it, and yet that was the stable source
of that particular
place that time. And night time, because the head teacher said, no, you have to sleep around so that tomorrow you see the school compound, you talk to your fellow teachers. You know, the teacher and the head teacher was welcoming, even the wife. So I slept at head teacher's place, but they gave me a bed without a mosquito net. I never slept even a blink of sleep. Mosquitoes was too much. Moreover, me, I come from a place where there is no mosquitoes. Even if you don't sleep under a net, it is well with you. But this time, mosquitoes throughout. I didn't sleep, so I woke up by 3. I told them I have to go to board. And you know, there was no one walking with me. I had to walk alone.
And you like to teach the whole class?
No, I just reported, and I was going back to organize myself now to come back to a teaching station where you are posted. But now I cried on the road, lonely like this. Even wild animal would have eaten me. I came to personnel and said, no, you don't need to do this for me. I'm not going to that school. Look at my body. I was properly bitten by mosquitoes. So he had to give me another school. So this time they gave me a school in Bar, where I went and
you did your practice.
Not practice. This time is real teaching. Yes. Taught for some times because my ambition was too big. I couldn't continue in the village. I got transferred to now the schools in Lira, municipal by then.
Anyway, we are going to come back to that. We have been talking to Honorable Sylvia Akello, all the way from Otuke. Very, very interesting story she's sharing with us. We are going to go for a break, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to Super Soul Sisters. My name is Jamila Oluka, and right here with me is Honorable Sylvia Akello, all the way from Otuke. She's been sharing a very, very nice story with us about her journey of life. I would like to tell you that this program airs every Wednesday around 9 p.m. on UBC TV, and a repeat on Friday 11 a.m. So if you fail to catch us on Wednesday and also on Friday, you can get us on YouTube, still Super Soul Sisters, so that you get to listen to these stories. It's very interesting. It's also very good for you to understand what other Super Soul Sisters go through. Right here, we are at Dotash, and if you want anything to make your home beautiful, this is the place to be. From the dining, the kitchen, the sitting room, the bedroom to the living room, they have all this stuff here. As you see, these beautiful chairs and all the things, you can get them here. You just have to come to Dotash along Ginger Road, Spear House, and you'll get everything you want. After teaching, how did you come up with the idea now of saying, no, I need to continue with my politics, and how was it like?
Yeah, there is something that I skipped. In Uganda, people don't study their children to know the ambition or the gifts that are in their children, and then they nurture children along that line. I think we need to start picking a leaf from this kind of experience. I remember when I was growing up, and politicians would be moving with the vehicles and songs and the rest of it. I was among such kind of children who follow, you know, they follow politicians and then they want to be there, they want to squeeze themselves properly.
To listen.
Not even to listen, either to touch, either you just touch a clothes of, you know, somebody campaigning. I remember even during the time Tito Akello was a president and he was moving around. I had to move even where he was speaking with people, a very young child. So that ambition was so strong in me. But my family and other people would not see. I grew up a child. When I start talking, I would bring stories one after the other, one after the other. So my brothers would say, this one is like a bird. You just listen until you are tired. Why don't you also keep quiet? But I would just be talking all the time. So talking became actually part of me. And I remember when I was in senior 2, that's when I joined politics. President Museveni had gone to meet leaders. And this time, by then, the former Minister of Lands, he was also a Minister of Security, Daniel Omara Tubo, had to invite, President went and they had a meeting in our school, Orume SS. And because I was already a district youth councillor, a student in the school, I had to be the one to serve water in the room where President was meeting leaders in Lango. You know, those days there was no bottled water. Yes. You serve water in a tray and then you pass around
with a cup,
with a
glass,
glass, of course, and guests would be drinking water. So for me, that was the time I encountered meeting President. So when we did that, we had to sing a song before the president, and immediately you do that, he would give you a handshake. So I shook the hand of President when I was in senior 2, and I said I remain NRM forever, whether for the good or for the bad, like people who've wedded. So that one even added ambition. You can imagine, you are a rural girl coming from Olilim, sitting only 2 of you in P7, and you had to shake the hand of President.
You were a special child.
And you know, I would be the one to start the song, this national anthem. You know me, I sing alto, very odd voice that can be heard. So whether you like it or not, you would hear my voice. And President say, wow, who sang that song? Again, another handshake. It was so sweet. And he gave us money. You know, envelope thing started long time ago. People are getting mad about it now for nothing. So he gave us money in the envelope. I think that was over 5,000. And our teachers wanted the money. We said, we are not giving you the money because you didn't train us. We train ourselves as students, and we sang before President. Now you want to take our money. We are not giving you this money. It was 5,000 for the whole group who sang. When I finished PTC, I taught for 2 years. The ambition was much. I remember I told you my heart was not in teaching, but I went there because there was no school fees. So I went to pursue my diploma in education when I'd not even finished probation. But fortunately, they had to accept me. So I only taught for 3 years, and then I went for my diploma in education primary. So after finishing my diploma, I said, I think this is enough. I resigned from teaching. That's when I joined now active politics as a woman councillor. Fortunately, I won with a landslide.
Wow.
I remember I was at 73%. Moreover, I contested with a person who was in politics, and she was a member of executive by then. So, by and large, I had to contest with my cousin sister.
And you went through?
Who was a member of executive. And you remember you've resigned from your job, you have no money. I would even use her vehicle. She had a pickup, so I would sit behind. when we reach there, we would abuse each other.
And then come back in the same van.
Yes, because she would not chase me. She would say, get up of my car. I would say, you are not chasing me. Insecurity is there. You would not even walk, because by that time, the LRA was at peak. So you could not, you have to be there. I would tell you, I am going to be there because I can't remain here, and we have to continue.
So then you've told us that that's when you started your political journey. Like, it was now, you know, because when you say it's an ambition, you chased for it and you had passion for it.
Yeah, it was now gaining momentum.
So during that time, did you ever like think of even getting children, getting married or anything?
I got married when immediately I finished PTC, and I quickly gave birth to 2 children rapidly. But the second birth was not easy. It was a cesarean section, which almost claimed my life. And I said, I think I've fulfilled the biblical word. I've given birth.
Of procreation.
Yes, so I stopped at 2 children, and we continued. Life was a little bit hard. Unfortunately, I lost the father of my kids.
Sorry about that.
So all this lifestyle of counselorship, of teaching, I was really doing it solo. So if any other woman would imagine,
with the drive of you have to make your children.
Yeah, and in my own imagination, I have boy children. And you know, people love girl children because they are dowry looking like. So when you have boy children, first of all, you are a disaster in the home.
And you are
there's nothing good. Yes, there's nothing good you are bringing. So you find people don't like women with the boy children, because at the end of the day, they want dowry they want cows for marriage, they want land. So when you have boy children and you are a widow or something of the sort, you are actually not an asset. You are you are a total liability. So people really don't. It's not so welcoming for mothers with the boy children. So amidst all this jungling in life, I was also a mother and a father at the same time.
Wow, you are such a great woman. So tell me now about your journey in politics.
So when I was in the district council of Lira, we were the district councillors who worked together with parliament and government of Uganda to see the creation of the many districts that are there now. I was a member of the executive by then, during the time of our former chairman called Franco Jur, who is now the senior presidential advisor. So we had to work hard, and we started amputating Amolatar to be a district. That was the first. I was a member of executive secretary, community-based services. We had to chop off Dokolo as a district. So we started working towards getting Otuke and Aleptong as one district. But remember, Omara Tubu was a minister of lands, and he had a lot of power to influence and to lobby at national level. So he lobbied at national level, and Otuke was created as a district first, then Aleptong now came after. So when we now became a district on our own, I said, wow, this is interesting. There is no reason why I should not contest now to be a woman member of parliament. Because if I can mix and remix with MPs, if I can do this, and before I forget, I want to thank Akford. You know, immediately we were elected in offices, Akford went in, and then they started training female councillors of how you can articulate in the house, how you know how to do things. So I was a very good student. I caught fire very fast, and they had me as their trainer. So I trained a number of districts, Palisa, Rukunjiri. If you
So
see
it
now,
helped you to travel.
yeah, I travel a lot, and when you see like Honorable Betty Bamukwasa, who was the woman member of parliament of Rukunjiri, she was a district councillor, and I am the one who trained them. I said, no, when these men shout, you don't need to, you know, be timid. Just remain on your lane and speak your point. My name appeared for 2 weeks as an elected member of parliament, but at the end of the day I was arrested and put in. So they declared another person, and that person came to parliament. So for me now, after losing, you know, when you follow the life I went through, the harsh situation, there is nothing that I see harsh. It is just condition at play. So immediately I lost. I started again mobilization seriously and doing my work with the NGO. President had, there is another problem. I was appointed RDC of Kamwenge in 2012. But I told President, I said, you know what? I won election. If you love me, take the other one to be RDC. For me, I become the woman MP. If it is not, thank you, I'm not taking the offer. So I turned down the offer of being RDC, because even my people were telling me, if you dare taking up this RDC work, which means you were using us as your ladder.
Yes.
You just wanted your personal gain. If you have the pain of being robbed of your victory, come and sit down. 5 years is not far. We are going to walk this journey with you, and we make sure you go to parliament. And
after the 5 years, did you go back?
Yeah, after the 5 years in 2016, I now won with dangerous light victory. I didn't have money. I would use motorcycle if people are still joking around. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a home. I was staying in a rented house. But all was well. I would work hard, do training with my NGO thing, and I would put all the money in my politics. But when I was already nominated, I got accident and I was fully hospitalized. So when people were voting in 2016, I was in Kumi. I work with Metro. I want to thank Dr. Ikure. Yes, I am proud of him.
So you were there on your sick bed, and then you had the news that you are now the member of parliament.
I had to move, and then I also voted. There was a time, even when it was now almost 2 weeks to election, people started saying that woman has gone mental. Because even in the hospital bed, my agents would go and gather people, and they would campaign. They would call me and put me on loud near the speaker, and people would hear me speak from the hospital. I would say, you people vote for me, I'm very strong. So it reached a point, people said, even the voice you hear, that is not her. That woman is mad. They just make another person to speak. Have you ever gone to Kumi to see her? She's not even in Kumi. She's not there.
Propaganda.
So people had to ferry me from the hospital. They took me to the ground. I would cry with the metal on. So in that process, the leg was not healed. The metals laid away. I had to go back for another operation after now had won election.
So now what are you doing in this time that you're doing the reflection?
I am a farmer right now. I do farming. I keep animals. I do produce. I plant my maize, ginnuts, and simsim.
And the oranges, you're a lady of fruits.
Yeah, I'm a lady of fruits. I have fruits all over me. I have my oranges, I have my chicken, I rear chicken. If I want to eat meat, no problem. I pick what I want to eat. That is.
I should come and visit you.
Working hard, first of all, has not made me to see position of a member of parliament as a do or die. No, I see it as a service. So if I'm not serving, you've given me time to rest. You've given me time to take care of myself. You've given me time to take care of my
mental
home.
Health
of
mostly.
Course. And I had to draw closer to God now. So when it comes to preaching, I go preach. I I interpret. I'm a very good interpreter.
You were a teacher.
Yeah.
So.
I was a teacher. Now I went back to church. I interpret. I preach. I sing.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. I go to community. I train people.
So should we expect you back again because time is almost 2026 is not far.
You know, every politician, even the person with no support, when you ask them, they will say, I have a lot of support. That one I give it to you to do your research. But I believe I am on track.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
So what message, what last advice can you give to sisters out there?
I want to implore everybody to have principles. Have principles for yourself, whether you are a lady or a man. In this world, life is not just garden of roses. You must know it's about ups and downs, but you must have your principles. One of the key is you must have a being that you speak to. Don't rely on your father, your mother, your assets, or rely on yourself and your being. If you believe in God, that is your being. Believe in yourself. If you've lost, don't curse yourself. That is where people go wrong. Say, oh, now they are calling me a prostitute. They are calling me a failure. They are calling me a lazy person because I've lost my job. If you bring your spirit low, yourself, by your thinking, then you are nobody. I always just tell my body, even my hands, I've done enough work. My brain, I've done it all. My legs, I've done it all. This failure is not a result of my action. For me, as me, I've done my part.
Yes.
So I am very comfortable with my body, and I keep my body very well because they are so precious to me. They do what I expect. But if other people have not seen, so be you. If this relationship has failed, blame others, but me, I'm not blaming myself. So be friendly to your being. The rest will be history.
Thank you very much. That is very interesting. So thank you very much, Honorable Sylvia Akello, all the way from Otuke.
Thank you very much, my moderator, Jamila. Thank you, Dotash, for these precious furnitures that we've come across. I implore people to come here. I also want to thank my family and the people of Otuke. I don't forget about the people of Olilim, where I'm born and I grew up. I want to thank my party, NRM. Amidst every ups and downs, we are in it together like marriage. We are not going anywhere. We are going nowhere.
And from Olilim, we've really enjoyed having you in the show, and we hope that you come back in 2026. We shall bring you back here and you tell us how the journey went through the elections and everything. Thank you very much for coming for the show.
Thank you, everyone.
To you, our viewers, you've been watching Super Soul Sisters with me here on UBC TV Inspiring Uganda, and with our guest who has just told you everything about how life is, and she has given advice. I know that I have picked one thing, that do not blame yourself, but when you make a mistake, learn from it and do something better. I also want to give credit to Dotash for giving us such a beautiful place. And to you viewers, please do not look any other place. If you want a beautiful furniture, if you want to beautify your home, come to Dotash. You'll get everything you need. Other than that, I want to appreciate you again for watching the show. Please catch us every Wednesday, same time, 9 p.m. If you miss on Wednesday, catch us on Friday, 11 a.m. And if you happen to be busy, also you can catch us on YouTube. You can watch all our shows on YouTube, Super Soul Sister. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.